In order to regulate the spacing and number of children, many Catholics use natural family planning, or NFP. This means that they choose when to have sexual intercourse based on whether or not they are likely to conceive in light of the woman's fertility cycle. In this video, we will offer some reflections on NFP based on our own experience and address how NFP differs from contraception.
Thomas never directly addresses natural family planning. It was not a pressing moral issue of his time, and we've come a long way in the understanding of women's bodies since the Middle Ages. Nonetheless, it's possible to think about how he might have approached this technology. St. Thomas valued scientific inquiry because it led to greater knowledge of creation, whose author is God. One of his fundamental teachings was that we come to knowledge of spiritual realities through the senses. By this logic, the charting of a woman's cycle, which is an essential component of practicing NFP, can be oriented to knowledge and praise of the Creator. As I began charting my cycle as a young single woman, I remember growing to appreciate my cycle instead of viewing it as an inconvenience. I was reminded of Psalm 139, "I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made." Charting my fertility symptoms also helped me to identify certain subtle problems with my health and to seek treatment when I wouldn't have otherwise. There is a reason that the menstrual cycle is called the sixth vital sign. If scientific truth goes hand in hand with revealed truth, then advances in our understanding of fertility can help spouses live out the three goods of marriage: procreation, fidelity, and sacrament. NFP can contribute to the procreative good of marriage by helping couples discern when it is possible and prudent to have children. This is especially resonant with St. Thomas's teaching that the procreative end of marriage involves not just having children, but raising them to the worship of God, as we discuss in our video on parenthood. Speaking from personal experience, NFP has helped us understand that building a family is about making a home and being open to God's will for how that unfolds. For St. Thomas, the unitive dimension of marriage is about fidelity and exclusivity. NFP contributes to this aspect of marriage because it helps the spouses to think of one another as complete subjects, not just objects of pleasure. On a personal level, practicing natural family planning has been a deep experience of love and acceptance. We have both learned to see fertility as a gift from God, and monthly changes in fertility as part of God's loving design. The third good of marriage is what marriage signifies, namely the love of Christ for the Church. Natural family planning is compatible with marriage as a sign of Christ's love for the Church, especially in its sacrificial dimension. NFP allows couples to embrace that sacrificial dimension of marriage because there are periods of abstinence. Just as in the Church there are periods of feasting and fasting, in marriage there are periods of conjugal union and abstinence. This spirit of sacrifice elevates sexual union to a human level, making it something that we freely choose and allowing us to will the good for the other. It orders our sexual desire to greater ends, such as helping our spouse get to heaven, raising holy children, and imaging the Church.
A question may arise. If NFP and contraception can both be used to avoid conception, what makes them different? In their writings and speeches, recent popes teach three things about NFP. First, the reasons for using NFP must be just or proportionate to the needs of the couple and of the family. Due to an early translation of Humanae Vitae, some Catholics think that they can only use NFP if they have grave reasons. But if we look at the original language, the Pope is encouraging the use of NFP for reasons that in English would be best translated as serious or well-grounded, or as just causes. Second, the people who decide what constitutes just causes for practicing NFP are the husband and wife, who are called to exercise their parenthood responsibly and generously, in light of God's moral order and their duties toward God, themselves, and society. As we see in the Summa Contra Gentiles, Catholic couples come together not just to beget a maximal number of offspring, but to order their lives and those of their children to divine worship. Third, St. Paul VI teaches that using NFP is completely different from contraception. Contraception entails directly acting to prevent procreation by making the sexual act infertile. NFP helps a couple time sexual acts so that they are likely to be infertile without the couple's direct action. Paul VI is clear. Choosing when to use a natural faculty or pursue a natural good is different from obstructing a natural faculty or actively inhibiting that good. In short, people who choose to have sex when they are infertile or less likely to be fertile are not making a choice against sex's procreative end. Couples using NFP know that they are not performing contraceptive acts and could still get pregnant. Sometimes they use NFP to help conceive. At other times, they respect the procreative end of the sexual act so much that they abstain from sexual union out of respect for that end. As with all things in this life, it is possible to use NFP for frivolous or selfish reasons, just as you can fast from food for selfish reasons. As Jesus describes in Matthew 6, so you can fast from sex for selfish reasons. The challenge of the Christian life is not cutting out all actions that we could perform badly, but orienting the good things God gives us toward His purposes and the path He has given us for following Him. For Catholic couples, this can mean using natural family planning to help them live out all the aspects of their vocation as spouses, fathers, and mothers. For readings, podcasts, and more videos like this, go to Aquinas101.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for one of our free video courses on Aquinas. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends, because it matters what you think.